Welcome back to the Fire Up Connect radio talk show. I'm your host, James Foo Torres, but you can call me Foo. And now we have Chris O'Byrne, the Director of Acquisition and Publishing of Strategic Advisor Board. How are you, Chris?
I'm doing great, Foo. It is awesome to be here.
Thanks for taking some time to go here to my show to add some value to the audience and to just have fun and have a fun conversation that we can share.
You bet.
Perfect. So first, let's talk about a little bit about you, so we can give a little bit of a taste of like who you are, what you do in SAB, and also what do you do in outside of SAB.
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Chris O'Byrne, and with the Strategic Advisor Board, I'm the Director of Acquisitions and Publishing, and we can talk more about what that means in a little bit. And then my main company is called JETLAUNCH Publishing, and we provide book design publishing services for independent authors and publishers.
Awesome. I'm looking forward to really get into that when of my upcoming book that you're gonna help me publish.
You bet.
And together with co-author with Jason. I'm really excited about that. So so now, like in this part, I want to ask you what kind of advice would you like to give people, given your expertise in acquisitions and publishing, that could really help business owners to take some action right now, not like just plan for the future? Like what could they do right now to improve their business, given the expertise that you have?
Yeah, absolutely. So publishing is one of those things those areas that most people they have an inkling about, but they don't really know. But for us, publishing is going to include everything from content creation to the book publishing to a booklet to it could even be doing Facebook posts, social media posts, even though I agree that those have definitely lost a lot of their zing from what there used to be. And so that whole publishing piece, it starts with understanding. This is why the process works so well in business, because you have to start the publishing process by understanding who your ideal customer is, who your ideal reader is. And you have to understand them very well, because this is not a situation where you are, Stephen King writing up in some cabin in Maine, where you don't have to consider who your audience is at all. Although I will argue he actually does very much. But especially when it comes to nonfiction and business books in general, the kind of books that the people we work with are going to publish, it starts by really understanding who that is that you're talking to, because you have all your expertise, and that's great, but it's only half of it. It's the ability to communicate that. So if you don't understand your audience, then you're not going to be able to communicate, very well with them about any of that. So that's kind of where that publishing piece fits in. And then, just kind of an overview of how it might work for somebody is they do that analysis, and that's why it's part of the acquisitions process, is then you then look at, okay, what is the content strategy going to be? And again, that content strategy can be anything from, a blog, email, newsletter, and of course, books. So there are many ways to approach that, but all of them are the same strategy. The strategy is publishing useful information that your ideal customer, your dream customer, is going to love. And really, that's at the heart of it. So you have to understand both sides of that, your expertise, who they are, and then how to get it across to them, which way is going to make the most sense. And so that's the strategic value of a publishing strategy, is that it's way more than I'd like to write a book or a few blog posts, or I'm going to hire somebody to do a PR campaign. All of these things are useful and need to be, should be part of the strategy, but it's the overall piece of that makes the most sense.
Definitely. There's some key points that you touched that I would like to emphasize is when you say like having your target, right, and the ideal client avatar, that resonates with me a lot, because given that I do PR, that's something that we have to consider a lot. And what these two meet a lot is that if it's great for businesses to push to do a book and to do PR campaign, because even has happened to myself and to my clients, that it forces you to really work on that client avatar, and really like put a lot of effort to have a clear message out. And another thing is that as humans, we're storytellers, right? So like we want to, is either if it's PR or email marketing or is a book, like doesn't matter, you want to tell a story, right? Because that's how we're wired. Like how, like before the internet and everything, all the information, or before books, let's say, like it was just here, right? Like just like, oh, I heard this story and I learned from it, and I'm passing it to my kids, and my kids are gonna pass it to their kids, right? And there's always like, to be able to remember it, then you gotta make it interesting. You gotta put a twist or something dramatic, so then your brain actually remembers it. So that's why, like, something that I wanted to point out, because it's a very like PR and publishing and like having a book, it's really goes together in that way.
Yeah, one thing I want to add to that is I tell authors this all the time, is that people read your book, they read your content because of the information, but they remember it because of the story. And it's that emotional connection with story. You're so right about that.
Definitely. Yeah, that's the word that I was missing. That emotional, right? Like that phrase of emotional connection. It really was like what I was trying to say in a way. So thanks
Yeah.
for adding that. That was really good. And just to kind of add on as last question, how do you see like the publishing books and like PR and like just public awareness in general moving forward now, like 2022 COVID, all these things? So how do you see that moving forward, and how do you personally are applying that for your clients, for SAB, and for everybody?
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely have to agree with what Joe said earlier, that the social media is losing it's losing its zing. And the reason it's losing it is because every new thing eventually will lose its zing. Email marketing at one point was the most amazing thing on the planet. And then it just like, yeah, whatever. And people just stopped using it, not realizing that, okay, it's this window of fad has worn off, but that doesn't mean the usefulness is gone. Just like social media. Is there usefulness? Yes. Is it a publishing strategy? No, it never should be. So when it comes to, especially the way things are moving, print is getting to be much more valuable. And of course it is. The more that we get online, the more people are going to want to get offline. It's when people are spending all of their time in virtual worlds and virtual reality, what are they going to want? They're going to want to take it off and go outside. And by take it off, I mean the via their lens. So when we talk about books, here's an example. So these are two books that my company has helped publish for Strategic Advisor Board, where all 10 directors are, authors on these, and we made them bestsellers, and which is great. The whole point of it was not to be authors or famous authors or best-selling authors. The whole point was these books connect with our ideal customers, and they see this and they're emotionally connected, and then they read the books and they find out that there are stories and they can connect with the people, and they're getting all this great value. And where does this sit most of the time? It's not hidden in somebody's Kindle. It's sitting next to them on the desk or the table or the bookshelf or wherever, and they're always going to see it, and it's always sort of calling to them, even if it's subconsciously, because our brains filter out so much information, but they still see it. Our brains still catch all of this information. And so that's why billboards still work, because presence of mind, front of mind, it gets people thinking about it. So, by advice for people would be, think of publishing as a big overall strategy. Don't think of the books or the social media or the blog posts as strategy. Those are techniques that feed the strategy, that make it work. So look at what your strategy is first, and then decide from there what's going to make the most sense. And, reach out to anybody on the strategic advisor board, and you're going to get some, valuable information to help you understand how you put those pieces together. And, people are ready to just make sure that you understand it. It's not that you have to figure this out alone. It isn't. Teamwork is the way it works these days. That's why there are 10 directors on the strategic advisor board. It's with that team is how we make things really win.
Definitely, yeah, and that's what I like, because I like the community, and then how, like, everybody, like, is their expert. So it's like, okay, if I need something about acquisition and publishing, I go to Chris. If I need, like, go to, like, learn about strategy, and, like, I want a strategist, then I go to Jason, right? Like, so all these different parts, how you guys, like, play it so nice. Like, it's like everybody has their own lane, like, same like in the book, everybody has their own chapter. So yeah, it's amazing work that you guys are doing, and it was very good information that you share with us. So thanks for giving us, or as the audience, your time and your knowledge, and I look forward to seeing you around in SAB.
Appreciate it very much, Fu. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you. And so now we're gonna go to commercials, and then when we come back, we're gonna have the Will Black, which is the director of payments and finance.